This is Professor Michael Chapman. I'm one of the most experienced IVF doctors in Australia. I believe that an important part that I can contribute is to educate patients in relation to fertility, infertility, and all that involves. These series of podcasts help to educate you. I hope they are helpful to you. If you wish to know more, however, I'm more than happy to have you contact me via email, which is profmchapman@gmail.com, or make an appointment to see me on 9138 4222. The good news is that things keep getting better. Someone who started out when pregnancy rates we were happy when we got 10%. Per embryo transfer, and we were transferring 2 and 3 embryos to get a 10% pregnancy rate. Today we transfer 1 embryo, and if you're under 38, it's around a 40% chance of being pregnant. So times have changed substantially. I get consulted from all around the world through this program, and I hope I can talk to some of you both now and in terms of a consultation, which I do at Cogra or by Zoom, anywhere in the world. Topics for the day. The media has been full of new developments over the last month or so. Having been around for so long, the announcement of a new development, I'm never particularly convinced until I see scientific evidence. And a number of these things that have come up recently are interesting observations, but in terms of putting them into clinical practice, we really are not yet convincing. Most recently, this last week, there's a paper suggesting that if you take a sperm sample and expose it to ultrasound, somehow or another it picks out sperm that are better. That's a nice scientific observation, but let's wait and see whether stirred up sperm do produce better pregnancy rates, because that's the bottom line. People make many claims, and many of those claims never come to fruition. Another recent commentary was about selecting the best embryos using non-invasive techniques, which we've been working on for years. Although ultimately it doesn't make any difference, because if you put back all the embryos that you create, you'll hit the right one sometime. But those series of transfers where a pregnancy doesn't occur is both emotionally painful, financially painful, and you don't get to what you want, the baby, in the fastest possible time. So if we have a method to pick the best embryo at the first round, the one that's got the best chance, then that's an improvement. Albeit, as I said before, overall, the pregnancy rate won't be any different. It's just that the time to pregnancy gets reduced. So people most recently are looking at some metabolic parameters of what an embryo secretes, and that gives an indication of the healthiest embryo. Then there's using the time-lapse technology when the embryo is growing, taking pictures of it every 15 minutes, and as that embryo grows, if it's growing in a normal way, in the standard way, then that's potentially going to be a good embryo. That's been around for almost a decade now, and it was proclaimed as a way forward, but in fact, it probably doesn't change anything. Anybody that says that they get better results with time-lapse, what they are really saying, or what we think, is that it's the incubator that the embryos are in. Because we're watching them all the time, we don't have to take the embryos in and out of an incubator, which is what we used to have to do to see on day 2 or day 3 how the embryo was going. And that meant a change of environment, temperature, carbon dioxide concentration, and not surprisingly, those embryos haven't done quite as well as when you can use a continuous system that's sealed off onto the rest of the world. The ultimate, it's not the ultimate because it doesn't give you the best results, but certainly in terms of embryos, a large percentage of them, increasing with age, by the way, are genetically abnormal, but even though they look like good embryos. And so genetically testing embryos certainly improves the pregnancy rates of the embryo that you put back. But good embryos we would have put back anyway before, in the past, before PGT, and eventually got the same pregnancy occurring, just took longer to get there. People keep finding things, claiming AI, artificial intelligence, is going to help pick the best embryo. The data on that, is still out there now. We've conducted the biggest randomized control on this, and the results are pretty marginal. There's always that makes that much difference for what is pretty expensive technology, but it may be where we go. Another advance with AI, again from our group, has indicated that it can find sperm quicker than the scientists when we're doing biopsies of sperm. So this looks like some hope there. But again, does it change pregnancy rates? We've got yet to see.
And don't forget that you can access all the previous episodes by going to our website www.theivfjourney.com and select IVF Journey podcast from the navigation menu.